Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ, and today I'm going to work on Margarete Miller. Now I am part of the collaboration journal jigsaw and my date for that is Saturday the 13th, and normally this video would go up on the Saturday, but because of the collaboration I will be posting this on Sunday instead, so you get an extra video from me this week. Can't be all bad, can it? Well, I hope you think not. Anyway, let's get into it. This is week 15 of Margarete Miller. So our prompts this week are a repeating pattern found in nature. I've got a couple of things for that. I've got this pineapple with its pattern on it. Excuse me. And also I've got this photo of the Sahara Desert with all the patterns created by the wind. I thought that was really pretty. Ledger paper. I've got this little ledger piece out of the back of a 1952 diary. Part of a product manual or instruction guide. I have this out of our cat's flea treatment. Terribly exciting, isn't it? But that's what it is. The instructions on how to use the product. Thread or piece of fabric. Well, I've got several bits of fabric here to use. A quote. I've got this quote here out of a quote book. It was water damaged, sitting on a cupboard, and we had a pipe that refused to turn off and everything got wet. So it's got a little bit of authentic damage. But the quote is, "Choose a job you love and you will never have to work a day in your life," by Confucius. So I'm going with that as my quote. And then I've got a stencil here for the bonus prompt of something stenciled. So I haven't even kind of played with composition yet, so I've got the pieces and I don't know how I'm going to arrange them. This instruction leaflet though is going to go in the background, and it's a little tall, so I'm going to take off the top. Some of it's in foreign language, which is quite fun. So I'm going to take off the top bit. And see how that's going to work, and we need to take a little bit off the bottom too, so I'm going to take off the bit that talks about roundworm infections, because you know that doesn't sound that pleasant, does it? I'm sure if I read through it there would be other things that I would find, you know, not that pleasant to include in my collage, but it's going to be in the background, so I think largely it's, you know, it's going to be covered, I believe. This beautiful bit of ledger, like part of me's like, actually I use this side banking account. It's like, can I actually use it? It's from 1952. Maybe we'll cut it down a bit and save some of it. This is too much white, so I'm going to tear the bottom. But I would like to keep, yeah, I don't know. We'll still get some of that water damage if I tear it here. So let's go ahead and do that. And then just a little bit off this end. And then leaving just that bit of stain. There is a story to this one, but I'll kind of play with composition. And then we'll kind of, might make more sense to do the story at the end, how all these pieces relate. I don't know, we'll see. We will get into the story at some point. You know, I like to build a story into my collages. It is so much fun and a challenge, and you know, I like to give myself a challenge, and it's not always easy. Some of them have me scratching my head going, how on earth am I going to do something with these really different prompts and put them into some sort of story. It's like, this one I actually, when I first looked at it, the prompts, I thought, oh, this might just be random bits. And then I came up, you know, after a few minutes of just sitting and pondering, I came up with an idea, and it was like, that'll work. So it's not a funny story, but it is a story. or at least a, not even a story, but a tale on how all these pieces relate together. So there's strawberries at the bottom of this pineapple, which I'm going to leave in because they've got a repeating pattern with their seeds. It was like, what do I want to use as a repeating pattern? There was lots of options. I thought about feathers, I thought about leaves, I thought about something like a cactus, because cactus have repeating patterns in the way they grow. And I thought about a hebe, which is a New Zealand native plant which grows with leaves that way, and then the next lot of leaves are this way, and then it continues all the way up the stem, alternating directions. So I thought about a hebe. I did a study on them in high school, so I have a particular love of hebes, and that study included actually growing them from cuttings. So we do have a few of them around our property. Unfortunately, one of my favourite ones died, which was a shame. It was a conifer style one, so it had very densely packed leaves, very tiny leaves. Looked more like a conifer than a hebe, but it was definitely a hebe. And they're quite hardy, so, you know, quite impressed with us that we managed to kill it. Honestly, I wouldn't say we've got a garden. Not really, because we don't do gardening. It's very much a survival of the hittest. Let's try survival of the fittest at our place. If it doesn't survive, it wasn't meant to be. So we've got a few roses, we've got some hebes, we've got some native trees which are doing quite well. We do have some fruit trees. 2 of them were here when I moved in, so an apple and a nectarine. And then we've planted feijoas, a lemon and a lime. The lime doesn't do that great, but probably because it's overgrown by one of the hebes. Lemon produces beautifully, and figs and feijoas. Did lose one of the feijoas, and that's because hubby accidentally killed it with weed killer when he was doing some spraying outside. We've got a bottle brush, which I love, and we've got agapanthus, and you know, one clump of agapanthus was given to us, and it was given to us with dirt attached. We never planted it, we just set it in the back and never got round to planting it, and it's still going strong. Just where we put it, without actually digging it in or watering it or doing anything. So funny. We've got a Banksia rose, got a jasmine, so yeah, but we don't have like any garden beds. And we've got some native grasses as well, which initially took a while to get going, but are doing really, really well now. It's like natives is definitely the way to go here. It's like, because they're, you know, they're made for this country. They're designed to grow here, so left to their own devices, they do pretty well. Oh, and we've got a flax as well, flax bush, which, it's okay. It's not huge, which is probably a good thing, because they can take over a little bit. It does have beautiful flower when it flowers, but it also tends to harbour the creepy crawlies, which I'm not so fond of. And that pretty much sums up what we have. Oh, we do have some naked ladies. Yep, we have naked ladies. There's some by the garage, and there's some out under our bedroom window. Have you heard of naked ladies? Do you know what they are? They're a lily type flower. Pink. Very pretty. But they're called naked ladies because the leaves come up at a different time to the flowers, so they're never together. The leaves come up at a different season, and then the flowers appear at a different season. So that's why they're called naked, because they never appear with their leaves. And so it's great merriment between us when the naked ladies flower, and it's like, oh, we've got naked ladies in our garden. How shocking. It's one of those silly asinine little things that we find quite amusing. But again, they were here before we moved in, or before I moved in, and they just pop up, they get mowing, hubby will mow straight over top of them every year, and they just keep popping up, and they're really quite lovely. Okay, that managed to get me all through that fussy cutting. There's a pineapple. Right, so I've got an area up here where there's not much happening, so maybe that's where we're going to put our fabric, or do I want to put this up the top there? And I think that makes more sense in my head for the story. Something like that. Okay, stenciling. Where am I going to stencil? I think I almost have to use this whole thing, otherwise I'm going to end up with quite a lot of blank area. Or do I just use more fabric? Let's just use more fabric, because I'm going to do it. I'm saving a bit, because it's just such old paper. It's very precious, and I don't want to just cover it all up and waste it. So just means I'll be using a bit more fabric than perhaps I had anticipated to begin with. Oh, I can't tear this. Maybe I need to give it a wee snip and tear it. Maybe I'll use this little bit. Wonky little bit. And this, maybe I'll just use it as, this reminds me of the pineapple, like it could be inspired by the pineapple. You can see a bit of a colour theme going on here. This little snippet. This tiny, tiny little sort of brown plaid kind of picks up some of those colours, and some of this, and some of the pineapple. Not getting too carried away with the placement. I don't think I'll go with that one. It's quite light. This little check here with the yellow, again picking up those colours and sort of the pattern of the pineapple a little bit. Maybe we'll slot a bit in under there. Oh, better remember where I'm going to put my prompts. Need to remember to leave somewhere to pop those. Now this bit seems to be sort of very outside the box in terms of the other bits I've got going on. I'm just going to take this bit down the bottom here. But it takes reference from the pineapple and the strawberries. So the greens with the green on the strawberries, the green of the pineapple, and then the yellow and the orange of the Sahara, white for a bit of accent, and the red of the strawberries, just a little bit of red there. So maybe we'll put that in under there, like that. And then this one, again, referencing the pattern on the pineapple more than anything. And also the colour, the brown of the Sahara, and the yellow. Ooh. My hands are sore, so it's a little bit hard to rip fabric at the moment. Sore from putting away firewood, picking up heavy firewood. Right, and maybe we'll carry through a piece. Maybe not, maybe down here instead. Okay, so stenciling I think will be up here. Prompt tuck in here. I think that will work. Okay, now I need to kind of shift everything and glue it all down, and we can start talking about what the meaning of this is, what my little story is. So let me just shift this kind of across and start with this. It's very thin paper, but I'm going to go with tacky glue. So this instruction leaflet is about flea treatment, but we're going to just pretend that it's about something else. We're going to pretend that it forms, the rules or the instructions, the how-to on how to sell or how to make, or I guess I need to choose one of those. Creating fabric or creating art, creating anything from inspired by nature. That probably gives the whole story away, really. Maybe I'll become a bit clearer as we go along. I kind of haven't fully thought what I want to say or how I'm going to say it. So, right. Oops. It's a bit, with all the creases, it just wants to spring up and not lay flat. So, pull it flat. There we go. That's better. Okay. Going to put down my precious, do I want banking account or bills receivable? Oh, I don't know. I think I might put the number so it's over here, just so I don't cover it over accidentally with anything. So I'd like the date to be in there. Oh, I can't believe I'm actually using a bit of this yummy paper, which feels criminal, probably as criminal as tearing it in half, but you know, it needs to be used, and it's good to have a piece here that's always going to be with me in this collage. So that goes there. I'm not going to glue this down yet because we may do a bit of layering. So that's going to go somewhere there as a pocket, and like that. So before I glue those down, I'm going to stencil, and I chose out this stencil here, this pattern, because to me it kind of goes with the, and there's a little bit of it here as well, goes with the pineapple pattern. What colour? Let's go with sepia. It's sort of the brown tones to go with the brown of those images. Just hunting for my sponge. Come on, where have you gone? Oh, can't be that far away. Oh well, I can't find it, so we'll just use this one and the clean side. There might be a bit of yellow transfer, and that would be okay because we've certainly got yellow going on, don't we? So let's stencil up on this lovely vintage ledger paper. I want to make it reasonably dark so it's visible. And some of this might be covered over, but that's okay. It's all about the layering, isn't it? And maybe a bit over here as well, because I think there's a bit over here that will show. And onto those instructions, it'll pretty those up a bit. And then I think some down here, again, it's just going to take away from that flea instruction document, because we don't really want what it says, we just want the inference of that it's instructions for something. So it's only a small bit of stencil, so I'm having to move it to extend the pattern, which is fine. Right, let's see how that does. So we've got our stenciling. Okay, now we can pop our pocket there, but do we want a bit of fabric underneath that? It's going to go on top, I think. Which bit did I have underneath? Is it this bit? Yep, let's just pop that underneath. And I'm liking all the strings. I am just going to use tacky glue for this. I'm not going to bother getting out my alcohol glue. I'm not really worried if I get glue showing through. As long as it sticks down, it'll be fine. Loving the threads actually. Right, let's glue this on as our pocket. I don't need it super wide, so let's, no, I want it towards that end, so let's give it a bit of room to put it in, but not make it too big. Here we go, so there's our pocket for our prompts. Okay, so let's go down here. So I'm just going to build up the layers with these bits of fabric. So I'm finding it difficult to go over the story as I place down, because I think it's not a story that's kind of develops, it's kind of just one all over story. So I will tell you once I've got everything glued down, I think. So I don't think it's going to make too much sense otherwise. Just a little vignette of a story. So these are bits of fabric, are all just little bits that a quilter friend gave to me. And there's just all sorts in the bag, all sorts of patterns and colours and shapes, and some larger pieces too, which is lovely. So I've been able to make a few journal covers and things like that. But I really enjoy these little scraps, odd shapes, just one-off little bits of texture and colour like this. You know, not a huge amount, just fun, really fun. Right, this funky little shaped bit of yellow. I'm not even worried about what's the right or the wrong side. I'm just gluing and sticking down. So I hope you've had a great week in this past week, my friends, and I hope you've got a fantastic week coming up, given that this is going to air on Sunday. I'm not sure what's up for the week coming for myself, apart from the usual recording videos and making stuff and all that jazz. I haven't got any specific plans in mind. Right, so this one I wanted to come in under the pineapple, didn't I? So something like that. The glue's going to help flatten these out because they're just all shoved in a bag, all my fabric scraps from my quilter friend, and so they're all sorts of creased and crumpled, and some worse than others. I did go through and iron some of the larger pieces because it was driving me a little nuts, and I don't like ironing, but you know, sometimes you just got to do it. as an act of self-preservation. Don't really want to lose that bit of red because it's the only bit of red. So let's move that up a bit. There. Now we can glue our quote down. Oh, my apologies. I'm actually really tired. I've been tired for days and it's not fun. All right, there's our quote. Okay, let's pop in that over there. I know I kind of haven't got everything where I had anticipated, or maybe we'll put it up there. Or do we want to bring some over there? I think I'll put it that way because it's got the word killing, or a couple of times it says killing. It's talking about killing fleas and larvae and stuff, and it's like, yeah, do I really want the word killing right at the top of my page? No, so let's cover it with this bit of fabric. That's not the story of this collage about killing. It's not that. So let's cover it over. You probably don't need all this fabric. I do want this little snippet because honestly, what else would I do with it? I'll just plop it on there. Oh, I just noticed I've got inky finger from doing that stenciling, and it's very brown, orangey brown, the sepia colour, and it doesn't look that pretty on my finger. Nowhere near as pretty as what it looks on the paper. Let's just kind of do that, kind of trying to connect the bits. Maybe just do a small snippet of this. Just down there maybe, or no, I'm going to put it down in this bottom right hand corner, I think. So definite colour theme going on. You will be able to see that quite easily, and you'll be able to see where that colour scheme has come from. There's another killed down the bottom there, so that's just going to sit over top of that. Right, now we can put our pineapple on. And then I will fill you in on where my thinking was for this collage. Got little fluffy bits on the tip of my glue from the fabric, and it's really annoying me, and I'm just trying to ignore it, and I'll clean it off afterwards, but it is very annoying. Nobody wants fluffy bits on the end of their glue nozzle. Okay, that is the collage done. Woohoo! So our wee story is, we have somebody who choose a job you love and you'll never have to work in a day in your life. They are, we'll call them an artist. That should be right up our alley, shouldn't it? We're all artists, we're all creatives. And she's putting together a proposal of, she wants to design fabric, and her inspiration is pineapple and the Sahara Desert, the colours and the patterns that are in those. And so she's grabbed out a whole lot of fabric swatches. They're her test swatches. that she's built based on this inspiration. She's got a bit of ledger paper in the background because she has to work out her costings, so that's what the ledger's for. And the instructions in the back are the boring stuff. That's why we've covered most of it up, on how you market, how you put together your proposal, you know, all that boring administration stuff. So let's just cover it over with the fun stuff because it's boring. So that is the story. It's only a little basic story. I'm not going to cut this all the way down because I don't want it to get lost in the pocket. Let's try that. Actually, I might change my mind and cut it down more and then put a tab on, just because that's a bit of fun. I need some paper. I'm just going to use a bit of book page and make a whale tail for our prompts so they don't get lost down in the pocket. So that is the story. It's a very kind of loose story, but it does combine everything. It's certainly in my head. Hopefully that translates to you as well, that you can see where my thinking is. I feel like I haven't explained it very well. Perhaps I should have taken a little bit more time to think about how to explain it, but I didn't. So make of it what you will. Right, I'm not going to put this in the middle because otherwise I'm going to cover over the number there, the hashtag, and I don't want to do that. And just because I can, I'm going to snip the corners. Not something I usually do on these, but I just feel like it. And sometimes you just got to roll with it. Oops. I'll glue those little spiky bits down in a minute. So, a repeating pattern found in nature, ledger paper, part of a product manual or instruction guide, fabric, a quote, and something stenciled for the bonus. We are done. Ooh, perhaps I shouldn't have cut the bottom off because it is wanting to slip right down in that pocket, but that's okay. I know where it is. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this one this week. I think it's fun. I had a lot of fun putting it together and sharing it with you. Have a great week coming up this week, guys. Make it a crafty, creative, fun one. I'll catch you again for Deal It Up Challenge. See you then.